As we've been working through the Sermon on the Mount, on this particular video, I'm going to be reading the Greek text and then the Hebrew text and the Latin text. And what I'd like to do is look at the grammar and then basically make a running commentary or a commentary as we're going through it. So it begins in 20. I'm working from Matthew 25:21. It begins as we begin to read, Ekusate, you have heard, Ekusate hote erethe tois uranois, tois archaios, ou phoniuse, chas deon phoniuse, enokas estai te krise. You have heard that it was said by them of old, you shall not murder or kill, but whosoever should kill shall be liable for the judgment. But I say to you, notice verse 22, Ego de lego humen hate pascha orgetsamenas to adelpho autu, Enekas estai te krise, hasteane pe to adelpho autu, raka. Henekas estai to sunedrio, hastean epe, more. Henekas estai estain gehenan to puras. It's Pentecost. I kept putting a rough breathing mark. Pentecost. So let's look at this grammatically. Notice in the translation, we would render it, whosoever, or you have heard that it was said by those of old, you shall not murder or kill, and whosoever should kill shall be liable for the judgment. But I say to you, notice Jesus is now taking it into the interior. But I say to you, the one who is angry with his brother shall be liable for the judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Raka, shall be liable for the Sanhedrin. And whosoever should say, More, fool, shall be liable for Gehenna of fire. Notice as we look at this, just grammatically for just a moment, Ekusata, you have heard, is the aorist indicative active, second person plural from akuo. Erethe is from lego, that it was said, aorist indicative passive, third person singular, by those of old. U phoniuse, you shall not murder, or you shall not kill. Notice here we have the root from phonuo, future indicative active, second person singular. And then whosoever should, phonuse, here we have the aorist subjunctive, third singular from phonuo. Whosoever should kill shall be liable for the judgment. But I say to you, ego lego humin hate pascha orgetsamenas to adelpho autu, Hanakas estai te Christe. But I say to you that the one who is angry with his brother shall be liable for the judgment. Notice here, orkitsamenas is your present middle participle, masculine singular, nominative masculine singular from orkidzo. So everyone who is angry with his brother, Jesus is taking it deeper into the interior motives and soul, shall be liable for the judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Raka, meaning like empty-headed one, shall be liable for the Sanhedrin. Estai is your future indicative active, third person singular from Amy. Shall be liable for the Sanhedrin, the highest court in Jewish judicial system. And then it says, and whosoever should say more. Notice chasde epe. Epe is from Lego. It's the aorist subjunctive third person singular from Lego. More, fu. Now we're looking at his character and attacking him. Shall be liable for the Gehenna of fire. And by the way, the Gehinnon was the valley of Hinnon outside of Jerusalem, where garbage was burned continually. And basically, what it's saying is that it becomes a picture of eternal judgment, that you would be eternally judged if you have that attitude. Notice Jesus is quoting the Ten Commandments. You shall not murder, you shall not kill, but then he's applying it to the interior. You don't even think a hatred toward another person. So Jesus is fulfilling the Torah in its internal meaning. Now, looking at the at the Hebrew, I'm quoting Delitzsch here, his translation. Halo shamartim ki ne'amar l'rishonim lo tirtzah ve'asher yirtzeh chayav hu leveit din. Ve'ani omer lachem kol asher yiksof al achiv chinam chayav hu leveit din. Ve'asher yomar el achiv reka chayav hu lesanhedrin. Ve'asher naval yikra lo hu mechuyav eish gehinon. So as we translate this, have you not heard that it is said by those of old? And notice here, shamartim, have you not heard, is the cow perfect second masculine plural from shamar. Have you not heard by those of ancient of old, you shall not murder, or you shall not kill? Again, agreeing the same, the translation of Delitzsch is lo tirtzah. This is the part of the Ten Commandments. Actually, this is the sixth commandment. And here we have the cow imperfect second masculine singular from ratzach. You shall not murder or kill. Va'asher yirtzach, and the one who kills. Here we have ratzach again as the root, cow imperfect third masculine singular from ratzach, shall be liable or guilty leveit din, of the house of judgment. But notice again, Jesus takes us to the interior of even hating or be angering with one. Va'ani omer lachem, but I am saying to you, notice omer is your cow participle masculine singular, but I am saying to you, kol asher yiksof al achiv chinam hayav hu leveit din. But I say to you that whosoever should be angry, and this is a cow imperfect third masculine singular from katsaf, be angry against his brother, shall be liable for the house of judgment. But asher yomar el achiv, and whosoever should say to his brother, raka or reka, which means like empty-headed one. It's the Aramaic meaning one that is empty. Chayav hu the Sanhedrin, that is, he shall be liable for the Sanhedrin, the highest court in the Jewish law system. Va'asher naval yikra lo hu mechuyav eish gehinon. But whosoever should say fool, naval, whosoever shall call to him fool. Yikra, by the way, is from kara, cow imperfect third masculine singular from kara. He shall be liable, mechuyav, for the fire of Gehinon, the valley of Hinnom. Hinnom, where the garbage was burned perpetually, a depiction of the eternal judgment. And notice, mechuyab is from chayav. It's a participle, a PL, or excuse me, a puel participle passive here shall be liable for the fire of Gehinnom. And then the Latin reads very close. Audistis quia dictum est antiquus, you have heard by those of old, non accides, quia tem acciderit reus erit judicio. You shall not murder, quoting Exodus 20, verse 13, and whosoever should kill shall be guilty of the judgment. Here we have the future indicative active, second person singular again, in accidere. But I say to you, but I am saying, notice the emphatic, ego autem dico vobis, I say to you, omnes qui eriscitur fractri suo, rus erit judicio, qui autem dexerit fractri suo, raca, ruus erit concilio. That is, but I am saying to you that all whosoever should be angry, here we have the future passive form, with his brother, shall be guilty of the judgment, or and whosoever should say to his brother, Raka, he shall be rus erit concilio, he shall be guilty of the council. But whosoever should say, Fatua, which would be fool, eris erit eruus erit Gehinai ignis, that is, he shall be guilty of Gehenna of fire. So the Latin follows very closely with the Greek. Then going back to the Greek now, in verse 23, Jesus is going to give an illustration now of how to not be angry and apply it in a very practical way. Ean un prosperes ta doransu epitas thusiasterion kake menestes hati adelphasu eketi katasu. If you are going to bring your gift upon the altar, and you should be reminded, or you are reminded, that your brother is having a certain thing against you, then leave your gift there and make it right. Notice Jesus says, "Ean un prosperes." Here we have the aorist subjunctive, second person singular from prospero. If you should bring your gift upon the altar, and there you are reminded from nimneskamai, that you should be reminded, this is your aorist subjunctive, second person singular from nimneskamai, you should be reminded that your brother is having something against you. Leave there your gift and go first, or before the altar, and depart. First be reconciled to your brother, and then when you come, offer your gift. Notice the Greek. Apheseke tadoransu imprastin tu thusiasteriu kai hupage. That is, leave from aphemi, aorist imperative, second masculine singular. Leave there your gift before the altar and depart. From hupago, go. Here we have the imperative, present imperative, second person singular, masculine singular, or second singular from hupago, go. First, be reconciled. Again, we have the imperative, aorist passive imperative from dialasso, second person singular, be reconciled to your brother, and then when you come, Elthon is from erkamai. It's your present participle nominative masculine singular. Offer your gift. Prosfere or prosfera is your present imperative second masculine singular. And so, in other words, if you're going to worship God, but you know that your brother has something against you, then go make it right. Then come and then offer your gift. And I want to read then the Hebrew next. Uh, Notice it reads, Lachen, im takriv korbancha el hamizbeach v'zacharta ki yesh le'achicha davar riv imak. That is, therefore, if you or when you bring near your gift unto the altar. Notice again, we have takriv. It's a hifil, imperfect second masculine singular from kara. If you bring near your gift unto the altar, and you shall remember zaharta ki yesh le'achicha davar riv ima. You shall be reminded or remember that there is to your brother a thing of contention with you. Notice here, zaharta is from zahar. It's the cow perfect, second masculine singular from zahar with a vav conversive. And you shall remember that there is to your brother a thing of strife or contention with you. And then he says, Chanach sham et korban banacha lifnei hamizbeach. That is, then leave there your gift before the altar. Notice hanach is from nuach, to leave. It's a hifil imperative second masculine singular. Leave there your gift before the altar and go, velate, go, be reconciled or make atonement. Interesting, the word that Delitzsch uses here, kapad, kapad, go, velate. Here we have a cow imperative masculine singular from halak, go and make atonement, kapar, or we could say make it right, et pene achicha, before your brother, and then afterwards, v'acharichein bo hakrev et uh, uh, kur banecha. Then afterwards go and bring near your gift. Notice here, make it right is really what the Hebrew is saying as well. And then afterwards, then go. Bo here is your cow imperative masculine singular. Hakrev, go, and then bring near your gift. Here we have a hifil imperative, second masculine singular from kara. Go and bring near your gift. And so the Latin then, just looking at it a minute here, would reads pretty much the same, literally. I'm reading at verse 23. Si ergo aferes, if you shall offer munis tuum ad altare, your gift to the altar, et ibi recordates fueris quia frater tuas habet aliquid adversum te. And you should be reminded that your brother is having something against you. Relinqua ibi munes tuum ante altere et vade plius, reconciliare fractri tuo et tunc, veniens offer munes tuum. There leave your gift, the imperative again, before the altar, and go, wade, again from wadare, an imperative, present imperative. First, be reconciled, is the way that the Latin renders it. Interesting, Daly's had make atonement, but be reconciled to your brother, and then going, winiens, the participle from winere, offer your gift. And so the Latin agrees pretty much with the Hebrew and the Greek. But then as we come back to the Greek text, he gives another example. And notice verse 25 in the Greek. Este yunaon to antidikosu taku. Cheos hatu e met autu in te hado mepotese parado ha antitigas te krite kai ha krites to huperete kai es furacane bletese. Be agreeing with your adversary quickly while you are with him on the road, lest your adversary should deliver you to the judge, and the judge to the officer, and you should be cast into prison. Amen lego soi. Verily I say to you, me excelthe ekathin. You shall not surely come out from there. Chaos an apados tan eskatan kur kadranten. Until you have paid the last, really we could almost translate this, kur kadranten, the last cent and a half, really. In other words, every penny, even down to a cent and a half, paid back. So make it right while you're on the way before you get to the court, is what Jesus is saying. And notice, ista here is from ami. It is your imperative, second masculine singular. Be agreeing. And notice you naon, a circumstantial participle, present masculine or present nominative singular from you naeo. Be agreeing with your adversary quickly while you are with him in the road, while you're going to court, lest your adversary should deliver you. Notice me potest parado. Parado is from paradidomi. It is your aorist subjunctive, third masculine singular, from paradidomi, lest your adversary shall deliver you to the judge, and the judge to the officer, and you should be cast into prison. Lethese is your aorist passive subjunctive from balo. You should be cast into prison. Verily I say to you, in other words, make it right while you're on your way to court, is what Jesus is saying. Amen lego soi, me, here we have a double negative. You shall not indeed excelthes, come out from thence. This is from exergamai. It is your aorist subjunctive, second person singular from exergamai. You shall not come out from there, that is from the prison, until that your adversary has taken you to court about, until you have rendered back or paid back the last, and we talked about cent and a half from kadrante. Notice apados is from apadidomi. It is your aorist subjunctive, second person singular from apadidomi. So Jesus is saying, make it right before you get to court and settle everything. Then, as we go on, into the Hebrew. Let me just pick up where we're at here in the Hebrew. Notice Jesus then says, Maher ha-tirtzech ha-ish rivecha ve'odecha b'derek ito pen yasgirecha ish rivecha el ha-shofet v'ha-shofet yasgirecha la-shoter v'hoshlata el beit ha-kalef. Notice here, haste, be quick to be reconciled. Notice maher is your PL imperative from mahar. So be quick to be reconciled. Here we have a hitpael form from ratzach, an infinitive, to be reconciled to the man of your contention while you are with him on the road, lest the man of your contention deliver you into the judge. Notice yaskir is a hifil, imperative, third person singular from sakar, lest he deliver you, the man that's in contention with you, unto the judge. V'hashofet yaskirecha, unless he cause you to be delivered, that is the officer, the judge. And this is a hifil imperfect second masculine singular, third masculine singular from sagar, with a pronominal suffix in the cha, lest he deliver you to the officer. And then you should be shoter, and you shall be cast, or he will cause you to be cast, or you shall be cast, from shalach, to cast. Here we have a hofal, perfect, second masculine singular from shalach, lest you should be cast unto the Beit HaKelef, unto the house of the prison, into the prison house. Amen omer ani lecha, I say to you, lo tetzeh misham ad im shilamta et ha-peruta aha-rona. That is, verily I am saying to you, you shall not come out from there until which time you have paid the last peruta. I'm going to translate this, the last penny, or the last cent. Notice you shall. I'm saying to you, Omer is your cal participle, masculine singular. Amen, Omer, ani lacha, or la, excuse me. Lo tetzeh, you shall not come out from there. Tetzeh is from yatsa, a pei vav verb, a cal imperfect second masculine singular from yatsa. You shall not come out from there until you have paid shilam ta, a PL perfect second masculine singular from shalom, the last penny, is the way I'm rendering that. And it's interesting, the Latin reads the same again, very, very literally, pretty much the same. And I'm reading this in verse 25. Esto consentiens, be consenting, adversario tuo quito, with your adversary quickly, dumes in via cum eo, while you are with him on the way, ni forte tradete adversario judici, lest your adversary should deliver you to the judge, et judex tradet te ministro, and he should deliver you to the minister or to the officer, etin karkerim metaris, and you should be cast into the prison. Amen dico tibi, I say to you, non exies inde, you shall not come out, future indicative active, second person singular. Donec redas novissimus quadrantem, until you have paid the last quadrantem. And again, that quadrantem means the last penny. It's interesting, the core quadrantes is really in the Hebrew, or excuse me, in the Greek from the Latin, and it's a Roman coin, a coin used at the time of our Lord, worth about 1.5 cents. And I get this from my former teacher's book, Linguistic Key to the Greek New Testament, Cleon Rogers. This is on page 15. And so basically, until you have paid the last cent and a half. So what is the Lord saying in the Sermon on the Mount? I think he is simply saying this. I've not come to destroy the law. I've come to fulfill it, even to a yod and a tittle, the smallest dimension of the, can I say, the Hebrew alphabet. And he's illustrating that by quoting the 10 Commandments. You have heard, you shall not murder, or you shall not kill. But I say to you, and he's taking it now into the interior. That is, what he's really saying is you can you can do violence to people in your attitude, in your heart attitude, is what Jesus is saying. So don't even think hatred toward your brother, and don't attack his character. And it's sad. We live in a time where people are constantly attacking other people, attacking their character. And one of the things that Jesus is warning against, that very thing. I mean, you don't, it's sort of like, I believe it's in the Talmud, it says to attack a person's character is to destroy him, to do violence to him. And this is what Jesus is saying. So he's saying, keep, yes, the 10 Commandments. He's agreeing with the rabbis and the scribes, but he said, and let's, and the rabbis, many of them took it the same way. Let's look at the interior. What's our attitude toward other people? And a lot of people harbor hatred in their hearts toward someone, and it continues. And Jesus is saying, no, if you're going to be my disciple, when you're harboring hatred, it's like you're doing violence to another person. So you have heard, don't kill, but I say to you, don't even think anger in your heart toward another person. Let your interior be right before me. And I think the challenge that we all need to say is, Lord, help me not to say anything in my heart against anyone. Help me to be kind and gentle and loving to everyone, everyone that I come in touch with. That's what a disciple of Jesus Christ, I think Jesus is saying, needs to look like. And so it is the external, but it's the internal as well. And he's taking it into the internal. And so that's a challenge to all of us in a time where it's so popular to attack others. We see this attack going on constantly on, all over. And having been a pastor for many years, we witnessed that over and over again at times. And so we're seeing it in the culture. We live in a culture where it's very easy to see people attacking the character of other people. And Jesus said, no, that's doing violence. And so I say to you, don't even think hatred, lest you will be in danger of eternal judgment. And that's what Gehinnom means. So let us apply that in our lives. Let us ask the Lord, everyone who wants to follow Christ, to be gentle and loving to every human being, even in our thought toward every human being. May the Lord bless his word to our lives and to our hearts.